Hey, it's Nate with Pulse PEMF here in the PulseCast booth at the 2025 Biohacking Conference. I'm joined by Dr. Fab. It's an honor to have you in the booth. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us.
I'm so excited to be here with you, man.
Likewise. So what is going on in your world right now? We're feeling the energy of the conference. So I want to hear what is stirring in your heart?
You know, it's interesting because I just finished speaking and everybody was asking me the same thing because they know this year I turned 38 years in this industry. Most people can't believe that. I'm going to be 60 in November.
What?
And of course, you know, this technology is one of the main reasons. As you know, I'm one of your biggest fans. But I decided to support the administration's initiatives in reversing chronic disease. So how did I do that? First, I decided we need to create a podcast called Ending Chronic Disease. And I'm interviewing some of the biggest names in healthcare so they can share their science. It's a platform.
Yes.
And that's going viral and it's growing tremendously. And then for the last 5 months, I wrote a book and I created a new movement called Self-Help. That's the title of the book.
Okay.
Instead of self-help, I want people to self-help because health is the one thing that impacts our life more than ever. It's the number one cost to our healthcare system, right? 90% of the healthcare cost is chronic disease. That impacts all of our families. It's the number one reason why people go personally bankrupt in the United States. Is getting sick.
I believe that.
But also it's the one thing that is causing the generation of our children not to have a shorter lifespan than our generation. We've never seen that in the evolution of humanity.
You're right.
So this book is to bring the message that the only thing that truly reverses chronic disease is the choices we make every day when it comes to our health. You make a good choice, you're going to be working towards against chronic disease. You make a bad choice, you're going to be working towards chronic disease.
And a lot of the times it's the health is the deciding factor if someone actually lives out their purpose and the passions of their heart. And so many, they just give up because the health is the deciding factor for them. They're like, well, I'm not where I was when I was in my 30s. And so I guess my time has passed. But we're seeing at this conference and with speakers like you, that's not the case anymore. We're free to dream no matter what diagnosis or what word curse was spoken over you by a doctor, that there's ways to reverse aging. There's ways to bring your body into that wholeness. What are some of the things that you're doing on a daily basis to reverse and to take that stance of self-health?
Well, one of the things that I want people to recognize is that I ask myself every day, what is the cause? What caused any type of symptom that I have? If my stomach is hurting for whatever reason, it might have been something I ate. It could have been something else. It could be the stress levels in my life.
Yes.
If all of a sudden I'm feeling a little depressed and anxious, what is that causing? So we live in a society today that finding the root cause of our health problem has become more important than managing the symptom. And that is critical right now. So we have to move towards the root cause. The second thing, on a daily basis, I start my routine very clear every morning. When I wake up with a mindset of gratitude. I learned that from Louis Hayes. Of all the emotions out there that are healing emotions, gratitude is one of the most important ones because it puts you in a grateful state.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for the nice rest of sleep that I had. I'm grateful that I get another 24 hours to make an impact in the world.
Come on.
I'm grateful that I can be with my family one more day. I'm grateful that I can work in my business one more day. Then I go into the gym. And I do primarily interval training. I learned that by working with the Olympic Committee for over 15 years. Olympic athletes do interval training because you go fast for a minute or two, and then you rest for a minute or two. You go fast for a minute or two, and it doesn't matter whether I do jumping jacks, or I do the elliptical, or I do a bike, or I go running in place. It doesn't matter. Just go fast and then slow down. And do that for around 7 to 10 times. And I'm telling you, it's the best workout to keep you lean and to keep you actually looking your best. And then I go into my recovery phase. I start with a recovery nutrition. One of the things that we learned right now, and JJ Virgin has made this better with her new book, is that we are not getting enough protein in our diet. So I start with a great protein recovery shake that has not only protein, but great greens and minerals. That is a foundational for my nutrition. Then I do my pulse, which is primarily to get my energy level, my mitochondria, my cells waking up in the morning.
There's nothing like it.
I mean, people are doing cold plunge. I've been doing cold plunge for 35 years. This is like cold plunge times 100.
Come on.
That's what I love about it.
And no
Then,
pain.
yeah, then I bought a hyperbaric chamber. So I'm
Okay.
doing an hour of hyperbaric chamber oxygen because we found that that's one of the best anti-aging biohackings that you can have. I do that 1 hour, 3 times a week. If I can do more, even better. Then I bought a machine called molecular hydrogen.
Yes.
Molecular hydrogen is something you inhale, but it's something that reactivates and regenerates your cells. Incredible. And it brings the inflammation in your body way down. Then I do another technology called Avacen, which is a hand that is microcirculation. So it actually opens up all the capillaries to get all my nutrients into every cell in my body and
Wow.
not just certain cells. And then, and that's really about an hour and a half to 2 hour routine every single day. I rotate it. You know, I go for long walks. I play tennis. I do pickleball now because
Mhm.
it's gotten so popular. But the most important thing is to be active, to do something every day and start the day with you. That's my
Yes.
message to the people. Start the day with you because no one is more important than you. And if we're like a bank, if I don't make an investment, if I don't keep cash in my bank, I'm going
Yes.
to run out of money to pay my bills. It's the same as if you don't nourish yourself and fill yourself up first thing in the morning, you're not going to have a lot to give to your loved ones, whether it's your husband or wife, or your children, or your grandparents, or your parents, or even your customers. You're going to run out of juice. And that's what's happening in most people's lives today.
I love that you gave free options, starting with gratitude, the practices that don't cost anything,
Yeah.
movement, interval training, but then you've also included the biohacking
Yeah.
modalities that you're using. I've seen in this generation, there's this swelling of the curiosity and the passion of like the 15 to 30-year-olds. They're not settling for this masking symptoms like you
Yeah.
brought up. And so what would you say to that generation about being proactive in getting to that place of self-health?
Well, the most important thing is that we're hoping that this generation will break that cycle
Yes.
because our generation is living on the cycle of our parents, grandparents, and beyond. So this generation is actually the generation, in my opinion, that can reverse the cycle and finally break it so their children can now be the healthiest that they can be. And the reason I say that is because our generation has very sick children.
Yes.
In fact, according to the latest polls, over 50% of the children in America have some kind of chronic disease. That is unheard of. Chronic
Should not
diseases
be.
were only seen in people over 60, 70-year-old. And now we're seeing it in our 10-year-old, 15 years old, 8-year-olds, starting with obesity
Yep.
and weight gain. Diabetes is rampant. By the year 2033, they're expecting that over 50% of Americans will be diabetic. We're at 40% already. How can
That's
that be?
absurd.
That's our children. What do they have to be sick about? They haven't even
Right.
lived long enough.
Right.
And the one that really did it for me, honestly, is that this generation of children is not expected to live as long as our generation. We've never seen that in the in the history of humanity. So I am counting on these 20 and 30 years olds to question the behaviors of their parents, to try new behaviors like we're doing in this conference, to try to leverage not only the nutrition and the exercise, but the technologies that have been proven to revolutionize the healthcare component that we currently have.
Yes.
We have more healing through technology today than we've ever seen in the history of humanity.
Right.
And we have to leverage that because we
Absolutely.
finally have arrived.
Yes.
Every other industry, take our cell phones, right?
Yep.
It's like our generation is like a rotating dial tone. The new generation is an iPhone that is a push button and it has everything in a phone, right?
Right.
Including all your pictures.
Yes.
We need to upgrade the level of healthcare that we provide to ourselves and our family. And that's what I believe technology is doing to healthcare. It's
Absolutely.
raising the level and saying to people, you don't have to depend on your drugs only to be healthy for the rest of your life.
That's right. So your book is coming out in the perfect time. When can we look forward
In
to
the
that?
next couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. So
I
that's
know.
soon.
Actually, I wanted to have it for this event, and unfortunately, they made a mistake in they call it a galley, which is the sample book that they send me as an author. So I get to evaluate it all one last time before it gets printed.
Yes.
And but by next week, people should be able to buy it on Amazon and everywhere else.
Oh, that's so exciting. Perfect timing. And so where do you see, with the timing of your book, where do you see this going in the next 10 years in the biohacking
Well,
movement?
my hope is that I'm going to make such a splash. Like, for instance, My last book, The Power of Self Healing, became #1 in 10 countries. It's
Wow.
translated in multiple languages because in that book, I introduced the concept of the power of self healing. I taught people that the main thing that heals is your body. Our bodies are set up with systems and mechanisms that are designed to heal.
Yes.
Problem is we don't leverage them, we don't activate them, we take them for granted. So that book opened the eyes to a lot of people, millions of people to say, you know what, maybe my body can heal this.
Yep.
And they stop becoming a victim to their disease process.
That's the
This new
key.
book goes beyond that. It's not only that you can self heal, but now let's make intentional choices. What are the best choices that I can make, not only to reverse my disease, but to achieve my health optimum potential? That's really what I'm interested in. I want the healthiest society that we can be, not only in America, but around the world, because if we're not healthy, we're not going to be productive.
You've probably heard the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so I'm thinking I need to get this book for my family, my kids. I've got a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they're part of that movement where they're asking questions and they're not wanting to go in the same cycles as those who have gone before us. So how can we find out more about this book and the book release? How can our viewers stay connected with you?
Well, if you just go to my website, drfabmancini.com, it's the same handle for all my social media.
Perfect.
But drfabmancini.com, from there, you can follow my podcast, my TV shows and appearances, my live events. The book launch is going to be there. Everything will be there.
I love it. So you can stay connected with Dr. Fab. Check out his book. I'm going to be getting that. We need to be creating a legacy of the new, of the new cycles, the new modalities, the new practices, and the disciplines that Dr. Fab was talking about. Thank you so much for coming on the PulseCast and bringing your expertise, Dr. Fab.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a true honor. Stay connected with Dr. Fab and the biohacking movement, where big minds are bringing bold ideas. This is the intersection of innovation and impact. We're not just talking about wellness, we're living it. So we'll see you in the next conversation.